In this third orientation video, we will go over some training tips and terminology, as well as some program design information that may be helpful. This information can also be found in your full syllabus on Canvas. I'd now like to go over some basic training terminology and principles that will assist you in putting together your exercise program. First of all, weight training is also known as strength training and resistance training. This is the primary means for building both muscular strength and endurance. Weight training is also useful for improving muscle tone, muscle mass, and body composition. The basic terminology includes terms like range of motion, or ROM, which is the complete joint range of a particular lift or exercise from the fully extended position to the fully flexed position, or vice versa. Repetitions, or reps, refer to moving a resistance through one complete range of motion. Sets refer to a series of repetitions. For example, a person might do one set of 12 bicep curls. Concentric or positive muscle contractions refer to a contraction in which the muscle gets shorter. Eccentric or negative muscle contractions refer to contractions where the muscle gets longer. Eccentric contractions often get neglected because a person will allow gravity to bring the weight down instead of resisting gravity by using their muscles. This is unfortunate because this is half of the work done during a lift, and eccentric contractions can provide a great deal of strength. Another common term in training is the FIT principle. The F in FIT stands for frequency, or how often you exercise, meaning how many times a week. Intensity refers to how hard you exercise, low, moderate, high intensity. The first T stands for time, or the duration of the exercise, possibly meaning how many minutes are you going that particular session. And type refers to the mode of exercise. For example, if we're talking about weight training, are you using free weights, machines, resistance bands, or body weight? There are several weight training principles to be aware of that can affect the improvements and growth you get out of a weight training program. The overload principle refers to the fact that your body adapts to the challenges that you give it. If you want to improve your muscular strength, you must force the muscles to do more work than they're typically accustomed to doing. Overloading your muscles causes the breakdown of the muscles, which results in supercompensation. This is where the muscle rebuilds over a 24 to 48 hour period, eventually resulting in a stronger, larger muscle. Progressive overload is an extension of the overload principle, which says that we must continue to progressively increase the challenges we give our body so that it will continue to improve. If you do the same workout week after week, your body will eventually get used to it. If you want to make further improvements, you need to increase the frequency, intensity, or duration of the exercises. Recuperation refers to the fact that the body requires recovery periods between exercise training sessions in order to adapt to the exercise stress. This means that you want to give most of your muscles a day off to rest, recuperate, and rebuild. For example, if you work your chest on a Monday, you should wait until Wednesday until you work that same muscle group again. If you want to work out every day, you should use some sort of split routine to avoid overworking the muscles. This means alternating between lower body muscles on one day and upper body the next day. Another possibility might be to work your biceps and triceps on day 1, legs on day 2, and chest and back on day 3, and so on, as long as you give each muscle group time to rebuild. Incidentally, abdominal muscles actually recover quicker than most other muscles, so you can typically get away with doing some ab exercises on most days. Specificity means that muscular development is very specific to the way you train. For example, if you want to build strength and muscle mass, you need to specifically use heavy weights and do less repetitions, such as 6 to 8 repetitions, to achieve that goal. For muscular endurance and toning, you would choose lighter weights and more repetitions, possibly 15 or more. If you just wanted general fitness, including a little of both strength and endurance, 8 to 10 repetitions might be appropriate. Specificity also refers to the fact that if we want to build a certain muscle group, for example triceps, we must target that muscle group with specific exercises that challenge it. Leg squats, obviously, will do nothing to improve your triceps. This means that we need to try and incorporate exercises that target most of our major muscle groups when we plan our weight training program. Here are a few tips that can assist you in having a safe and effective weight training workout. First of all, warm up before any strenuous exercise, especially weight training. A proper warm-up may include 3 to 5 minutes of light cardio activity, or a light warm-up set of the weight training activity you're doing, which might be about 50% of your normal training weight. Free weight users should use spotters to help control heavy weights, including the bench press and squat. Move the joints through a full range of motion. Use slow, controlled movements that emphasize the eccentric phase of the lift and avoid jerky movements. Do not hold your breath during a lift because it can cause problems with high blood pressure and also make you lightheaded and dizzy. Include at least one exercise for all of the major muscle groups. For muscular balance, always try and work antagonistic muscle groups equally. What that means is if you work a muscle group in the front of the body, such as the chest, you would want to work the back muscles equally. The same goes for the biceps in the front and the triceps in the back, the quadriceps in the front of the thigh, and then the hamstrings at the back of the thigh. Work larger muscle groups first and then smaller muscle groups last. There are several reasons for doing this. First of all, if you work on your small muscles first, they may become tired and fatigued and be unable to support larger muscle group exercises. In addition, larger muscle group exercises, such as the chest press, typically work smaller muscles, such as the shoulders and the triceps. Never lift the same muscle groups on consecutive days. As we said before, your muscles need time to recuperate and rebuild. And lastly, cool down and stretch after each workout. This is one of the best times to stretch because your muscles are already warmed up. In addition, stretching will help reduce muscle soreness the next day that may occur from a weight training workout. This next section is primarily for total fitness students, but may also be instructive for weight training students. Flexibility and stretching tips include the following. Always warm up before stretching. As we said before, 3 to 5 minutes of light cardio would be appropriate. Stretch after your workout. As we said before, this is one of the best times to get in a stretch routine. This is when your muscles, your ligaments, and your tendons are most pliable and less likely to tear. Stretch to the point of pressure but not pain. Pain is an indication that something wrong, so if you feel pain, you want to back off. Hold each stretch for a minimum of 20 to 30 seconds. Holding longer than 30 seconds does not really make much of a difference, and holding less than 20 seconds may not be completely effective. Try to repeat this stretch 2 to 3 times. Stretch the muscles most used during the workout to relieve any kind of muscle soreness. And never ever bounce when stretching. This can cause damage to the muscles. In terms of cardiovascular training basics, to be effective, cardio training must be performed at least 3 to 5 days a week. The amount you start with depends on your current fitness level and the intensity of your activity. If you're doing more lower intensity activities like walking, try for 5 or more days a week. For higher intensity activities like running, as little as 3 days a week may be enough. If you're very unfit, you should start with 3 workouts a week, eventually progressing to 5 a week. For weight loss, 5 or more days a week may be necessary. There are several ways to measure an appropriate intensity for your cardio workouts. The first is target heart rate. For this, keep your heart rate in between 70 to 85% of your maximum age-predicted heart rate. The formula for this is in your packet. For example, 220 minus your age times 0.70 will give you your lower heart rate limit, and 220 minus your age times 0.85 will give you the upper heart rate limit. If you're 20 years old, for example, your lower heart rate limit would be 140 beats per minute, and your upper limit would be 170. You would want to stay in between 140 and 170 beats per minute to have an effective workout. The ratings of perceived exertion scale is shown in your packet and goes from a scale of 6 to 20. A rating of 12 to 16 is considered to be an effective cardio training intensity. The talk test is another subjective measure of intensity in which you monitor your breathing rate and ability to talk. To be at an effective cardio training intensity, you should be breathing hard but still be able to carry on a conversation. If you can talk normally, you're not training hard enough. If you can't speak at all, you're training too hard. To be effective, cardio exercise must be performed for a minimum of 20 to 30 minutes. Of course, more is better. Ideally, this should be done in one continuous session. However, if you're very unfit or you lack the time, it can be split up into smaller segments of time, no less than 10-minute bouts. The best cardio exercises are highly aerobic, meaning they require a lot of oxygen use. This means any activity that is continuous and involves the use of large muscle groups. In the fitness center, we have several options, including walking, jogging, or running on a treadmill, an elliptical machine that uses both the upper and lower body, the stair stepper, and the bikes. The best type of cardiovascular activity is one that you enjoy and are most likely to continue with. I hope this orientation has been instructive. Have fun, exercise safe, and make sure you contact your instructor if you have any additional questions that weren't covered.